we will cut over to the board. The first game we are bringing you is Ben Schoenbrun and Josh Castellano. Ben currently 7-0, and the last time I got to do streaming with Ben, he was winning $10,000 at the Word Cup up here in New York State. So Ben looking to continue his run of dominance with me on the headset, but Josh looking to throw a big monkey wrench into this vision. He's at 4-3 right now. A loss would be devastating to his chances. A win would make this anybody's tournament. He'll have to overcome going second and defeat Ben. But anything is possible in Scrabble, and we are underway now. Austin, are you familiar with these guys and their game?
Yeah, I think I've played both players quite a number of times. Both of them are very strong players, and on their day can win pretty much any tournament. So yeah, kind of expecting to see some very high quality Scrabble. Not too many misses. You can see already both players have picked out a blank. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come. Some big scores heading our way.
Oh my goodness. And Ben already with a very tough first turn. He can burn the blank for 46 right now, Zaire, but I think you've got to exchange here, right, Austin?
Ooh, maybe. I mean, the other option is maybe Zaire. Using the blank for 46. Again, the blank is probably worth about 25 to 30 points. So it could be worth just taking some points now and just go with it. But if he exchanges, maybe exchanging IE might be okay here, or IIE, something like that. But 46 points is a lot to potentially give up. So yeah, that might be something that I might try and do. I don't know, maybe the ZEA might be okay, but keeping two eyes is pretty terrible. So I think it's either Zaire or maybe I think I would probably lean towards that.
This is so hard. Yeah, Zaire, 46 points, burn the blank on the first turn. Or, do you exchange? And if you are going to exchange, what do you exchange? Do you keep the Z, right? So Ben opting for none of these. He's going to play ZEA here, which I think is a play that makes sense, but I really like the exchange out of this rack. We'll see how this works out for Ben. IIE, in Austin's words, pretty terrible, but the leave for Ben, and we'll see if he's able to bail out of this rack. GINPRR blank, the poll for Josh, and this looks very standard. I think parring is going to come down underneath ZEA with the 3 underlaps. That's the only word that fits beneath that and is going to be his highest scoring option. And Ben has pulled some good stuff as well. So we're going to see a bingo and a bango unless something crazy happens here.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got the S as well to hook on for sparring potentially. So yeah, should be expecting 2 bingos on the next 2 turns that we have here. Just a matter of if Josh actually sees parring and sees a space for it. But as we know in Collins, with the Z can go with an A, E, or O. So he just needs to find a bingo with that blank using one of those tiles. And I'm sure he has already seen it, but is just doing his due diligence to see there's nothing that extends to the E, to the triple, or anything like that. But I think he's about to play parring right now.
Yep, and here it comes. Parring going to be the play. I can't imagine he makes that an E or an O and plays a phony here. So parring going to be the play. 75-24, Josh's lead as he's cashed in the first blank on the first turn, but Ben going to hit him back with the second one. Parring going to give up a number of double opportunities to Ben. I won't call those words out so you can have some fun with that, but I'm sure chat will solve those very quickly, and I know Austin has already solved those.
I see at least one right now, but I won't give it away just yet. But I think the through the end is really the main thing that Ben should be looking through at this moment in time.
Yeah, 2 doubles through the N, each scoring 86 points. Size also plays beneath three of the tiles in parring, making PI, ZAS, and ERE. That would be 80 points, but he has indeed found one of the 2 doubles, Piscine, Piscinae, coming down.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be the top move here. The other option is Skynid through the N, putting the S out there. I think the S position probably better here because any bingo ending with an S won't hit the double. So I think this is good. He's showing looks like Ben is showing the blank on towards the camera in case we weren't sure what the blank was, but there's no doubt here.
Thank you, Ben. I wish more players did that on stream, to be totally honest, but there was no ambiguity about that one. We knew that was a P. Some of these other ones get a little bit interesting. It looks like we have our board camera completely upside down, so I don't know what magic is going to happen behind the scenes, but we do want to try to get that corrected if possible. Um, production team is working on it right now, so apologies for that. I cannot play Scrabble upside down for the life of me. I like seeing the squares in their actual spot, but some people, you'll see Ben, if you haven't seen him on stream before, just kind of orients his tiles in a direction. They may be upside down, right side up, or on their side. So he obviously can handle the chaos a little bit better than some of the rest of us.
Definitely, definitely. Oh, but there we go. We've got the board the right way around this time. So don't forget that the blank is a P, and it's Josh's turn right now. So he's looking to try and get rid of the B, the H, and the I that's on his rack. So there's probably two different options in terms of what he can play. He can play BHAI with the B on the double, making PI, or maybe playing Habit, which scores a bit more, putting the H in that double, and also scoring a little bit more, but slightly worse leave of just IE rather than ITE. So it's a bit of a toss up there, but it looks like he's getting ready to now.
Yeah, this is a tough decision on these always. Do I scoop six more now at the expense of the stability of my leave? Or do I score the most points with habit, keep a more volatile leave, amping opportunities to my opponent? These are tricky turns. And a lot of the time it is just a point or two of differential between these at the end of the day. Austin, how do you make these decisions? What goes through your head when you see racks like this?
Yeah, basically you just try and go through like what you think the value of the leave is. So EI is probably worse than EIT because it's a bit of a better balance of consonants and vowels. You look at how many points it scores and also look at how many points it gives away. There's kind of three different things. You're trying to kind of almost simulate in your head what you think might be coming out on top in that stakes. But it looks like Josh has come out with an anagram of habit, which is Baith, which kind of scores almost the same number of points, I think. But it also does not give away the triple, top triple at the top. That's what habit would do.
That was an interesting decision. Foregoing 3 points to avoid exposing the triple word square. Perhaps there's some merit to it. I think I was most partial to BHAI there. The Quackle Sim agrees, but Quackle doesn't know everything. Benji ready to make some fireworks out of this rack as Kaboom plays for 48, and he
Ooh.
is not going to waste any more time. Right on cue, throwing this down. 48 points for Ben. That'll put him ahead 158 to 104. And we are seeing a lot of points scored already in this game, as Austin predicted beforehand.
Yeah, I think Kaboom is pretty much the say standard play, but if you find it and you see it, then I think that's going to be very easily the best move you have here.
And Josh now has pulled into Cyanite, which is going to play with Sparring on this board, should he notice that hook. I know I've played Enmities instead of Enmities before, so that would be an enticing, phony triple triple for him. But the only playable bingo out of this rack for Josh is the Baby Bingo Cyanite, and there's only one spot for it.
Yeah, I'm sure that Josh is going to see that. It's a relatively high probability at this level that we're watching at right now. And obviously, Josh played parring, so he would be more obvious or more aware of the S hook that he has actually created. So I think he'll be thinking of either is parrings a word just to get a few extra points. But I think he should really go for the or standard play of just playing sparring and cyanite, which, as you said, the only bingo available here. And I think he will know that there's only enmities with the M. So I don't think there's too much to kind of consider here, especially with the floating E on the board, which doesn't really go well with what he has on his rack, and also the O of Kaboom, not great either. So I think that's the only thing that he might be even toying with, but I don't think there's much else to think about here.
Yeah, there's one playable bingo. He's eventually going to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah,
Here
there
it
it
comes,
is.
Cyanite. And this is going to give back huge plays to Ben. A Shivery, I already see
Ooh.
going down. That's going to be over 50 points. All four S's have been drawn, both blanks already on the board. All that material, the Z is coming out quickly. I worry about the second half of this game and what
Yeah, it's game
players are
over
going to be
already.
able to do. Ugh.
Yeah, Chivalry is going to score. I think it's going to be 60 points, so it's going to be almost as much as Cyanide.
60 points for Chivalry. There's also IMSHY, which plays through the M for 51, but you've got to
Oh
knock
wow,
out this E. You've got to take the 9 extra points, I think, in this situation if you're Benji.
definitely, and the E is definitely much more dangerous as well in that spot than the M. So again, if he sees it, I think they're both sharing a joke right now. But yeah, I think it looks like Chivalry is going to come down.
Oh, is Ben going to pull the fake triple triple? You going to
He's going to
pick
put
up
the
2
R down.
tiles? You see the
Not
face
quite.
Josh just made there. It's like, well, that could have been worse, but also, ooh, okay.
Yeah, he was bracing himself there.
All right, so
Yeah,
Ben
60
surges
points.
right back ahead after the bingo from Josh, and this pull is going to be huge.
Oh,
Ooh, looked promising. ENRT the first 3. He will actually bingo here.
but bingo to the eye, I think.
Yes, yes, he will.
And yeah, I mean, I would assume. I mean, if he knows that one, I would expect that Josh would know this word. But there's not really anything else to think about if you know it, because you have 6 consonants. You're looking at basically vowels on the board, and there's only an I that's really going to hit something with a double. So I think he's going to find it if he just looks at the I and notices that there's a bingo there. And I think he is.
Yep.
Yep, there it is. Easy game. We don't even need to commentate. They're just playing all the best moves. I
Yeah,
love it.
right. We'll just buckle up and watch and let them do the rest.
Yeah, let's just
Cool.
watch. We just put ourselves on mute and just let them do their stuff. Easy.
Yeah, Ben's already doing his sound effects with Kaboom, so let's just let him have it then.
Very fitting for this game so far.
So
But yeah,
a lot of the good stuff out of the bag. We'll see if Josh is able to find another bingo in there, though. As Ben, it looks like EENNOSV. He held that held onto that one S and has found
does he have another
some closer
bingo?
vowels.
Does he have a bingo here?
He does.
Yeah, I just realized there's 2 floating e's, and I think the bingo, the 8-letter word can fit on either one.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
All
Told you
right.
guys, there's going to be a lot of points in this game.
My goodness.
So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th bingo of the game.
Well, this is a welcome change. I was calling out on stream all morning that nobody bingos in Lake George, and no, we have blown that out of the water. There have been so many bingos already this game. As Venenos, the playable bingo for Ben coming down. He had 2 spots, as Austin said, through either one of those E's, but the other placement exposes a triple triple, not the variance Ben is looking to add to the game here. So for the same score, he will play through the E, or through this E. And I think there's nothing really to discuss about that one. When you have the bingo, you play the bingo most of the time. Josh is not going to bingo here, but he's going to score some mammoth points. That spot above Kaboom has just been sitting there, that M, for several turns. And finally, it looks like Yom is going to come down for Josh here. 49 for just a little 3-letter word, YOM, but he's going to crush that spot.
Yeah, it looks like it's the most obvious play here. I think this is really the only play on the only place on the board apart from the K that he will actually leave another O in his rack. To be able to score a lot of points on, obviously the triples are the biggest spots, and also he has the Y. So for those watching and are not necessarily familiar with Collins, NY is also a word. So on Flitten, the N there, he could play the Y there as well. That's a big spot, but this would be the second Y that actually comes out. So I think Yom at the top right is still going to be the best play here, and he has the other O for OK. So he's doing pretty okay right now, I guess.
Austin, would you consider making a play like WOO, foregoing 12 points to hold on to that Y to try to hit a big NY play next turn?
Um, it's a tough one. I mean, again, the Y spot at the bottom is pretty big. You do almost have to be pretty much set on actually getting a 5-letter word with the Y at the bottom if you want to do that. But 12 points seems like too much of a um, too much of a sacrifice. And also, if you play something down with NY with the Y and then hitting the double, you're going to open up the triple as well. So you're giving away points like that as well. So I think it's probably best, I think, to just play Yom in this case, take the points, and worry about the rest of it later.
Solid analysis there from Austin Shin. As Ben has pulled some garbage, we know there is a lot of garbage left in this tile bag, and Ben has pulled the Q as well as two O's, a C, and a P. So unwelcome. It is worth pointing out all four U's are still unseen to Ben, and we know none are on Josh's rack either. So it makes this a little bit more palatable. He has no good Q plays at all. But a play like Coop or Droop making okay at the top of this board should feel okay. You're turning over 4 or 5 chances at a U. You'll probably be okay with that Q.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think just because things like Coop or Droop at the top with the OK hook just score so much, I think that you just have to take the points, take that spot out, and hopefully you pick out either a U or a Q or an I. Because if you play Droop, you can probably play QI and DI, which is obviously Connors only as well. You could do that for 34. So that's a might be something that he is thinking about here, playing Droop instead, going for extra turnover and trying to get one of those two I's that are still in the bag for QI.
Worth pointing out as well, 36 unseen to Ben, and 18 of those are vowels right now, with 4 U's, 5 A's, and 5 E's all in the bag. Now, we know a lot of that is on Josh's rack right now, but definitely a skew to the unseen pools from Ben's perspective. AAEEOUW, the rack now, as Josh, down at 10 points, is looking to pull back ahead in this one.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what he can really do here. Doesn't really have many long words on his rack. Yeah, I mean, he could play something maybe like EAU or something, but doesn't really score enough points. What other suggestions have you got, Matt?
So a Wee WAE or AWEE fits underneath Flittern with four
Oh,
underlap. TAYEWRENE. So if you're looking to score some points, that's 26.
nice.
Hold AOU, drawing into 3 more U's is scary. You can also score 32 up top. YOWE from the YO is 32, but holds AAEOU, which just isn't going to end well for you. Not this turn, and probably not next turn either. So I don't know. I think you've got to spot a Wee down at the bottom of this board and just kind of hope things turn around for you.
Yeah, I think so. It just gets rid of more vowels. You just want to kind of shed a lot of those vowels off your rack first and then deal with the rest later. AOU is not great, but it's definitely workable for the next turn if you don't pick up too many vowels. But yeah, I think that's probably the move. I think OE. Looking at the leave values, I know that Josh is actually a heavy studier of leave values. So I don't know if you would know this, but the leave of AAEOU is worth minus 18 points, and uh, AOU is actually worth -8. So it's actually worth 10 points more playing off a Wii rather than playing Yao. So I think he will be considering that, especially since the so a Wii is 26 points and Yao is 32. It's only a 6 point difference. So a Wii seems like the better play here, just on raw equity value.
And Josh agrees with every word of your analysis as he elects to make that play right as you've come to your conclusion. So a Wee leaving 3 vowels on Josh's rack. And he is looking to find some relief in this tile bag. The Q would actually be a good tile for him with that leave, but we know that
Yeah.
Ben is continuing to struggle with it on the other side. Oh no, it looks like we're getting a phone call on our clock.
Don't look, everyone, don't look.
Right. What happens when your director is directing and trying to run the stream and doing 8,000 other things at once? All right. We've got the clock back. That's good. So there's a very sneaky play here for Ben. I don't know if he considers doing this or not, but Alpha, ALFA, plays beneath sparring above Venenos, drops that F on the triple letter score. 36 points for Alpha, holding CEQT, but there are still 4 unseen U's. to Ben. So alpha holding the Q has some merit, score very well. QATS also plays to the S in chivalry if we are looking to shed that Q, but you know the old adage, if you get rid of the Q, you will draw two U's immediately. So that's something Ben needs to keep in mind as he thinks about this.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right in terms of whenever you play the Q without a U, it basically happens like 99% of the time. I can vouch for that. So yeah, I probably would have just seen cats and be like, yeah, I think that's the move here. Definitely gives much better bingo potential as well, keeping FLEC. Oh, wait, does he have an does he have an L? He's got two
Oh, he
L's,
has
right?
two L's. Ooh, I've got this rack
Yes,
wrong.
not cat. Yeah, he doesn't have a T.
Oh, no
So yeah,
T.
I guess that alpha is actually even stronger now.
Oh, yeah, you can't play the Q no matter what. So you've got to spot alpha here. Oh man, Ben's going bingy on me. Giving me the
Yeah, that's the
commentator's
problem.
dyslexia.
Yeah, that's the problem with not having all the tiles right way up. It's harder for us to see, but it looks like he's picked up the A. I think he might have seen it.
You seen
You
it?
know? Wow,
Good.
that's world class play from Ben there, finding the standout best play here with Alpha, which is 36 points, I believe. That's amazing. And again, he
Yeah.
can go for another fish with the eye as well for QI at the top.
Okay, he's got draws into U's, draws into I's. This Q looks dangerous, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it seems right now. As Josh, man, AAGOOUW, Awuga or something. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, just not a lot for him to be able to do out of this wreck. You almost want to think about exchanging here, but you've got to continue scoring as well. I know Austin scores all the time. In fact, I don't think his scoring has ever stopped. What do you think here, Austin? Do you score points or does the scoring stop and you exchange out of something this terrible?
Oh, yeah. So the problem is that now you're about 20 behind. You end up being down maybe 40 points if you don't make a move here. Again, you don't want to kind of back yourself into a corner by keep playing tiles that, are good for your rack and then you just get worse and worse and just start falling further behind. But yeah, something like Wu onto the E of Pisane, the E there, EW and Wu hitting the double is not really that great, I guess. I mean, but it might be of a bad bunch that we have. You could play WAG or something, and maybe just try and get rid of that U and the W somehow, or maybe just get rid of one of those because those two are absolutely terrible together. So I think something like that might have to happen, but yeah, it just doesn't look particularly great for Josh right now with what he has.
We did try to warn you folks at home. All the good tiles were already played, and I said there was hot garbage left in the bag. We see it here. AAGOOUW. I don't think there's a Scrabble player on the planet excited to see a rack like that. And if they are the most masochistic Scrabble player I've ever met. Oh man, this is tough.
Yeah, it's very tough. And like even Ben doesn't have anything great either. They're both kind of like looking at each other, like, what are we supposed to do now? Is a matter of like who's going to blink first in terms of is someone just going to exchange right now if well, if they have the chance, or are they just going to try and just plug away at it and just see if they can uh, work their way through it and pick out some of the few better tiles that are still in the bag right now.
Oh
I'm really
man,
not seeing much else.
this is killer.
Yeah,
Guava through the V is really terrible,
yeah.
but opens this board up. You can put yourself in a bingo or die situation after a play like that. But with this unseen pool holding OOW, bingo or die means die.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Guava does a good job of getting rid of some of those vowels, keeping WOO, which it's not great, but it also doesn't. It also leaves it with no tiles to actually hit that G with. So the G
Right.
would be one spot to the right of that middle left triple word square, and he would have played off his two A's and the U, which would go there. And in the pool, there's still an A and three U's left. He would have to rely on picking up one of those tiles. And if he's keeping WOO and he's actually hoping for a U or an A, like what are you going to do with that? Pretty much nothing. So it's one of those things. I don't think Guava might be too great either. And Guava also opens up an A spot above the V. So below the V, there's an A there, and then there's also a J unseen. So JA or JO would hit there for 34 points, and would give another hotspot away as well.
But I just don't see how a play like Woo wins this game. WOO. It just feels like you're asking to get overlapped and outrun and keeping garbage. But
Yeah.
I don't see how any of these plays win. I think you need a time machine to go back in time and not draw all of this stuff.
If only that was possible, I would use that time machine millions of times by now.
That would be an overpowered strategy for sure. For those of you at home, if you want to be a top-notch Scrabble player, there you go. Some free advice. Invent a time machine. You will be quite good.
So what about OU in the bottom left corner?
Yeah, the longer I look, the more I'm like, I think I've got to do that, you know? And OU can mean a number of things for Ben. It's not like free information, it's not a great inference. OU is almost a misleading way because you would never expect to play like OU to hold AAGWO. Ben's going to have you pegged on a nicer, better, more bingo friendly range, more likely than not. Holding the W is also, I think, important for the top right of this board, that YOW spot. Points are going to be at a premium with this garbage in the bag. So maybe that play alone makes this worth it. I kind of like OU. Just get rid of some of this stuff. More U's are coming. I think I'm partial to it.
Might be lining up WAG and EW here. But also, I would like to just point out that all three E's that are unseen from Josh's point of view are all on Ben's rack. So what Ben's looking at his tile tracking right now, he's going to see that's even worse than what it actually is because, well, we're seeing anyway, because he's holding actually some of the better tiles that are actually in the bag.
God, this one's going to be tough to watch at the end, folks. Oh my goodness. All right, so WOO from Josh comes down, but for 13 here, not for 15 with EW. Perhaps knocking out scoring options for Ben, perhaps trying to look out for some of the more killer overlaps. Perhaps a little bit of both there for Josh, but I do like this placement, I think, better than the 17 pointer. AAGU and BLJ is going to be almost exactly what he was looking for. You're not bingoing into AAGU almost ever, but this is going to score some points at least. That J is going to be big for stacking on top of Woo as well. So this might be interesting yet. Ben, CEEELQU. He did draw the U he was looking for to go with this Q, but not really any good options quite. Or Peak, PIQUE, playing from the blank P in Piscine, are the only two plays I see that get rid of the Q. Otherwise, he may be sitting on it for one more turn. This is a very hard decision for Ben to make. CEE at the top walls this game off and puts him ahead by 23 points. But is 23 enough? You have the Q, that's good. The J's unseen, that's bad. There's a lot for him to think about. Do we play defense? Do we play offense? What's going through your head in a situation like this, Austin?
So I mean, I don't think you can really block anything, actively block or actively open up anything at this stage. I think you're just going to try and keep scoring basically and try and knock out some of the potential setup plays that could be played right now. So we already know that all the S's and blanks are already gone. Um, and just as Ben is playing CL in the bottom right corner, I was actually thinking something like Josh can play something like Jug and Joe, setting up the A hook since there's no S's left, and he actually holds two of the three remaining A's on Josh's rack. So that actually kind of maybe stifles that option for Josh right now. And he's probably looking to play off something bigger with the Q later on. Or maybe he's hoping to pick out an I still. And there it is.
Wow, quieted on top of that.
Yes. Wow. We'll see if that actually gets played later on, if Josh decides to open something up. But it does take out a big spot for Josh right now in the bottom right corner. And he can't really do anything there now with the second O of Wall now, making a J spot. But there's not really many things he can do. He might just try and he could play something like JA and DA at the top. Might be something that he can look at, for example, just getting 28 points, which is actually quite a lot on this board. He might be looking at, oh, Juba is even better, and Oka, so that scores even more. And he has the A to go underneath the J anyway, so um, that's going to be somewhat of a, not say a setup play, but it's going to be a strong one. He could have even thought about playing Juga as well and setting up the A for that Juga, which might be worth a bit more.
Yeah, that's what I would have done for sure. Juga set up the front A that I'm holding on to, but Juba is not a bad play in and of itself. You have the J to, or the A to play underneath. Maybe the G underneath the U could be helpful as well. But Juba, what Josh elects to do here, perhaps feeling a little bit of this time pressure, and Ben with quieted on his rack is not going to be able to play this anywhere, but does have a pretty solid candidate play in Wold, just extending WOOL, putting the ED behind it for 30.
Uh,
That holds
yeah.
quiet or sets up quid, gives him a number of options with this Q. And I think that's a very nice play for him. I'm not seeing much else to do with this Q right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think playing something like Ward is probably best, and especially with holding the Q, which eats up a lot of vowels. From his point of view, there's five vowels left. There's AAIUU, which are not particularly great. So he's going to have to make use of the remaining E's that he has on his rack, but it could potentially give away points above the O and the E of Ward potentially. But I think it's worth playing that here, just giving yourself another shot or another place to play off the cue with quid, as you said.
So yeah, there's the play from Ben, and Josh now down 23, but he's going to be able to score even more than that, and take the lead again after the play of Juba. Remember, we talked about it was a good play because it set up JA underneath. He does have Gulag or Ungag, both of those playing underneath for 32 points right now. Those are good plays for Josh to take the lead, but there are 5 tiles in the bag right now. A play like that would empty the bag, and there's a lot of fun stuff. I just dropped the bag in chat for everybody. ADDEIIQTTUUX. Like, whoa, what? So you've got to be worried about Q plays. You've got to be worried about X plays. You've got to be worried about Q draws. You've got to be worried about X draws. There is a lot for Josh to think about in this situation. I don't think you can make a play like Gulag or Ungag here. I don't think you can empty the bag. You need to go out first. You want to leave about 2 or 3 in the bag here. Austin, how would you approach a situation like this?
Yeah, it's tough because if you get rid of the U and you're toast, I think this is pretty much game over if you do that. There's still 2 U's left in the bag as well. Ideally, you want to leave some tiles in the bag, but Gulag scores so much. It's he's already 23 points behind. Um, Other options maybe just playing shorter like lag or gag or something, and then potentially keeping the U for something else later on. But yeah, there's really not many other options that I can see that score points, um, other than playing underneath Juba, and it's going to be tough because even though it's very easy for us to see, Ben does have the Q and the X on his rack, but also Gulag would also give a lot of points with the Q that Ben has on his rack as well. So it's it's kind of dicey at this stage, and it doesn't look all that great for Josh, as I think right now. Probably not too great, but he might have to just go for something like Gulag here and just hope that Ben can't do anything with that Q or X, but that U again, you can play that X above it and play something like DUX and UG and XU, which will score 30 odd points as well. So you're always going to be giving away points opening something up. It's just a matter of, do you think it's time to go all in on this right now, or do you just wait for a slightly better opportunity in the next turn?
I think there are 3 approaches you can take here. One, score as much as you can with the play, like he set up Nugar, Nuggar, that plays for 30. We'll draw the last 5 tiles out of the bag, and you just kind of hope and pray that you draw an out in one sequence. You draw a play that lets you go out. We know he's actually going to draw two Lottie after that because we know what's in the bag. But your chances feel very slim after a play like that. You take a narrow lead. If you don't go out in one, Ben gets to make two additional plays to the one you get to make. You're probably going to lose. The second approach you can take is play shorter here, play off 3 tiles and score well, something like gag or lag underneath the Juba, leave 2 in the bag and see if you can beat your opponent to the outplay. But are you going to draw the Q, X, both, or neither? It's very hard to plan. The third option is say, forget it. I'm going to try to bingo, and that's to play shrug from the SH. Just play RUG behind it, hold GLN with a bunch of eyes to be drawn. Maybe you can make something happen. Definitely just a different idea. If you think your odds are so thin, maybe you do that.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a valid option as well because putting the G out in space is not really going to help the Q or the X potentially particularly well. Really, the only thing you can do there is something like Guchin or Gops, but there's no N's unseen and there's no O's unseen. So there's not really that much that Ben can do if he has the Q and the X. I'm not sure if Josh is trying to maybe kind of like range finding now in terms of what he thinks Ben might have based on his last few plays. Does he think that he might have one of those tiles or not? And I think another thing with instead of Gulag and Naga is that the U with Gulag will be placed just above the double word square, and Naga puts the U on the double word square. So anything that goes through if he doesn't have the X, if he has the Q, won't score very much otherwise. But it looks like he's playing Gulag here. I think it's a very valid play in terms of trying to keeping up with the scoring, but does empty the bag, and he will actually draw into a 7-letter bingo. But he wouldn't be expecting that based on what's left in the bag right now.
Yeah, in this situation, you're just kind of hoping that you don't draw the Q or the X, and you hope Ben has both, and you hope you can go out before him. But I mean, this is, I think, the problem with a play like Gulag is unless you go out in one move, and you're not going to with 7 tiles on your rack, Ben just hits you with the Q, and you lose. I don't know. Maybe if Josh draws the X in this situation, then this is a much more exciting game. But it just feels like Gulag loses a lot of the time here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would agree with that too. It's just a kind of a really bad situation to be in, having to kind of empty the bag in this way, and also if you don't want to empty the bag, you'll just be a long way behind. But yeah, having the Q and the X kind of in this case kind of helps in terms of being able to just outrun your opponent with really no good bingo lines on the board. So just as long as you have a good space to play off the Q and the X, I think that's going to be enough. And I can see that Josh is kind of shaking his head right now. He's only got 2 minutes left on his clock, and Ben has about 10 minutes, so he's got plenty of time to think this through and work out what his best outplay would be. And is there a optimal end game here that we know that's the best one here, or is there enough ways to win? How is he going to
There's
win this
about
game?
10 wins that Ben has right
Oh, okay.
here. So it looks like the most straightforward is just play Quid through the U in Gulag. You set
Ah,
up Tex and Equid above it. So
oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's tough because you're not going to be able to block that at all. Yeah, that's very clever actually. Yeah, quid and then text equid. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, that's right. He's going to play quit here, I think.
that should do the trick as well.
Sets up Dex underneath it, or Lex and quite. Is there another way he can go out? Oh, he can play Xed as well on Piscine, the E there. So he has guaranteed outplay here, from what I can
Oh, he's
see.
going to need it too. He's only got that. Yeah, going out with X. Josh has Indart, Indart beneath Quid.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
And
big.
so after that play, Ben is only going to win by 4 points.
Oh wow, that's a lot closer than I anticipated there.
I think Ben has not hit his clock yet. He's looking at everything that can happen.
Oh, he
In
hit it.
Dart
He's
is
hit it
going to
now.
be killer should Josh see that. but it will not be enough to win Josh this game, just barely.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Josh is going to find it. He doesn't have much time on his on here, but he's got IN lined up. He looks like he's trying to think of a place. Yeah, he looks like he's finding a way to get in dot on the board, and you can see it now. It's going to be a lot closer than it suggests, but yeah, Josh is not going to have quite enough to win this game.
Yeah, I really wonder about this gulag play looking back at it. I think, that these decisions are so hard to make with five in the bag like that. Nobody's able to play an in game that well, that far out, especially factoring in inference. But it just kind of feels like gulag loses this game most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I also think so as well. It's just even if you pick out the Q and the X, you might still be in a hole. And even if you don't pick it out, then this is what's going to happen now. Is you're going to get hit twice with two moves for a lot of points, and you're going to lose that way. So maybe Shrug might have been the move there. And yeah, just trying to go for some kind of hitting some kind of bingo there, or just making Ben just think about what to do here, whether he kind of sacrifices not getting rid of the Q or the X, blocking the floating U and G of Shrug, or just continue to do his thing and continue as normal. But
Yeah, I don't know.
Josh
I
is,
think in that situation, you say, let's just see if I can find a bingo or something out of the bag. But I don't, it was a very hard situation. And I feel like if you play Shrug, you just end up drawing the queue, getting bingoed on, and losing by 150. So damned if I do, damned if I don't kind of thing.
yeah, I think Josh didn't see in dart, but he could. I mean, I guess Ben could have played Lex and Quite for a lot of points and try to get a much bigger spread. But either way, Ben is going to win this game by 16 points. I think the pick takes him to 447 to Josh's 431. So as we saw earlier in this game, there were 5 bingos played straight away almost, and they raced to like a mid 200 score each by that point, and it kind of slowed down quite considerably after that. And yeah, that was I think it was pretty well played from both players still.